Most Amazon sellers are flying blind. They're updating their images and changing bullet points and titles, all without understanding the consequences of what they're doing. And the importance of making sure you're properly split testing, tracking the right data, and implementing changes in the right direction are going to be the difference between 1% better every day and being 1% better than 2% worse, and then 1% better, and then 1% better, and then 2% worse, and making changes that ultimately keep you at zero. I'm going to walk through the frameworks that we use after scaling over 50 brands in Amazon and doing over $180 million in sales. This isn't just guesswork. These are actionable frameworks that I'm literally using. Let me talk about why most A/B testing fails on Amazon. Sellers are changing too many bullet points at once. They're changing their images, their bullets, their price. They're confusing correlation with causation. You need to make sure that you're isolating variables. And if you can't identify what is moving the needle, then you don't know. So by implementing a price change with a title change at the same time, you've now created two different variables that have changed, and you can't isolate down which one caused the correct correlation, aka you're flying blind. That is why it is very, very important to understand you should not switch out your main image, your title, and update your price at the same time. Your CTR could go up, but your CVR could crash, and you're not going to understand what happened. So what I've instilled in my team is the OVR. OVR. That is the one variable rule. That means you can only do one variable at a time as much as you want to make a multitude of changes. That means if you want to add a box to your main image and then put the keyword on it, that is the only change. You can't add a box, put a keyword on it, and then put something else over here as well, because now we have multiple variables that change. And it's important to understand which one is actually helping you, because if you do both and it fails, but maybe you only did one and it passes, then you would have understood that. And you would get to that conclusion in a sequential order over time through testing at one variable at a time. I'm a big advocate on testing top of funnel down. So that means testing your main image as well as your title first, and then moving through sequentially into your bullet points, your A+ content. It's actually interesting because a lot of brands come to us, and whenever I ask them what they've been optimizing, it's very rarely they tell me their main image. Almost all of them say, oh, we've been getting new A+ content done by these different teams. And it's just funny to me because that's the bottom of your funnel. And if you spend so much time on the bottom of the funnel, in each bucket you lose people and you lose people. And by the time you get to the A+ content, those people are like serious buyers, of course, but the percentage of buyers at this point is significantly smaller than at the very top of the funnel. So if we can increase your top of funnel by 50%, it's going to do a significantly more amount to your bottom line, because now you have 50% more coming into the funnel at the top than if you increase, down here in the funnel 50% more, and just not going to do as well. So focusing first and foremost, main image. Our main image systems, what we like to do is we scrape all sorts of different data points from Google to Amazon reviews, to getting actual search core performance report data, and getting product opportunity explorer data, and understanding exactly the niche, the products, the competitors. I also download all the competitors' photos. I run that through and bullet point out every single marketing point that they're doing. And I'm trying to understand here, based on the reviews, based on these marketing points, what is the problem that the consumer wants from the search? And from there, I'm ideating and creating different iterations of the main image that we can use in order to increase your click-through and conversion. So the benefits of a main image is, one, increased visibility. Your well-optimized images are going to significantly increase your visibility from how many people are going to actually go into the funnel. Two, you're going to have a higher click-through rate. That means that people are actually going to click your product and move in. You're going to have higher conversion rate. So even on YouTube, for instance, if I split test thumbnails, one of the crazy things for me is that one thumbnail, you're going to watch my video for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Another thumbnail, you might watch it for 15 minutes. And that's a thumbnail, right? So that's the top of the funnel. So you're telling me if I spent 2 hours recording this video and I could focus on the thumbnail of this video and improve my watch time, not even making better content, but literally just by the framing of you clicking the video, wouldn't you focus on that, right? So, that's definitely what I'm focusing on when I'm optimizing my videos, and same when I'm optimizing main images inside of Amazon. Moving in, you have increased click-through, but you also have increased conversion rate. If you can put it properly, you're going to have reduced returns as well. Like if you can push the buyers that aren't relevant. When we look at Amazon, we don't want irrelevant traffic that kills the listings. So if you have a cord and someone is searching for cordless, sometimes it's better to push away the people looking for cordless. It depends on the niche, because sometimes you can still convert them, but being on top of it and reducing returns is super important, not just for the relevancy, but reduce returns. I'm not going to get too much into the finances behind returns in this video, but let's just say that they are not pretty for your bottom line. You got to pay a bunch of fees, and it sucks. It's annoying. So best to keep those away, and that's something that we can do in there. And I guess ultimately, you're just going to have a competitive advantage. The odds of someone clicking your product over your competitor's product go up significantly if you can market the psychology properly on the main image. So walking through, I'm going to put some examples here. Here's some jump ropes that we optimized for. You can see we put a bag, PVC jump ropes. We have some grinders that we did on here, or not grinders. We have some storage containers that we did. You can see here we put 6-packs. We put a call out with some words on it. And from there, you can see the impact between a split test. You can see here we were able to increase the conversion rate by 22%, which is not a laughing matter. That's almost $44,000 in additional sales per year for this product. So you do this across 10 SKUs. We just added $500,000 in sales, just changing one image, or technically 10 images. 10, but the ROI on the time is high. If we can get a $44,000 check for one image, why don't you take that? But it's not just $44,000. This allows you to spend more money on ads. This allows you to be inside the relevancy algorithm at a higher level, since Amazon really cares how relevant you are for the product. And it really helps you in the flywheel and allows you to organically rank better. And there's so much benefit. I can't emphasize enough that we really want to be split testing that. So one variable at a time is critical. This was multiple tests, but we want to make sure that we're not over testing. Another one to just keep in mind is literally the order test is crazy. This one you can see here, we have a device we did an order test for. We literally tripled the conversion. We didn't change the graphics at all. We literally just rearranged the order, putting the higher priority things at the front, eliminating doubt. It's just crazy. So the split testing, even order sequences, is super, super important. And it's something that I don't see sellers doing all the time. We should always theoretically be split testing if you aren't at bestseller rank, or if you're not best in your niche. There should theoretically be a way to be the best. So through that, I would keep testing different marketing angles, psychology, positioning, and until you're able to get to that point. Here I'm going to walk through. I'm going to show you here are some more tests. We've been doing tons and tons of tests just from ideation, things that you can put behind bottles and different elements that we can add to these images that are really going to increase your overall conversion and, in return, allow you to index better inside of Amazon. After the main images, I split test the title. Title is very, very important for a multitude of reasons, but you're going to increase your click-through, also can increase the conversion rate as well through the right framing and making sure that you're presenting your product in the best way. Keep in mind, a lot of niches, the majority of your traffic is going to be mobile. So, the first 80, 90 characters of how you're positioning your title is very, very important. So making sure that you are going to be able to convert for mobile is something to be really, really conscious of. After that, we do pricing. Pricing generally we're doing in 10% increments up and down, depending on how we're trying to adjust. Personally, I like launching products very, very cheap. So I start, 50, sometimes 60% under market, depending on how quickly we're trying to gain sales velocity, probably closer to 50. And then from there, as we start stacking reviews and gaining sales velocity, we adjust the pricing up incrementally 10%, and we're taking a look at what are the conversion metrics, what's the changes. And essentially it's a lot easier to keep increasing the pricing and then mapping out where you're going to be from a performance standpoint than it is to start here and then never really know and then go down here. You never really know the data. So starting low, going high, and by the nature of Amazon, it's going to help us get more reviews and build sales velocity, which Amazon very much favors. So pricing is great. A+ content is awesome. Test the different visuals, although, this is something I test towards the end. So main image, title, then I do order tests, and then I would go into price and then A+ content towards the end of the funnel, and just keep split testing, keep testing until you get to the point where your listing is the best seller, you have the best conversions in the niche by far, and you continue to crush. Obviously, sometimes it might be hard to be number one in a niche where you have a competitor that's like a third of your price, but as long as you own your market, and in my opinion, you can still compete because you have higher margins, you can spend more on ads if you can get those conversions. So I don't let that discourage me. And there's tons and tons of niches. I mean, we work primarily with American sellers, so they're obviously very, very successful, and they are, generally speaking, significantly more priced than the competitors in the market. Once these are already launched, we also want to be very conscious of the search query performance report and understanding from a keyword level how these changes are impacting. So if we are changing the title and we are changing maybe a keyword that we're using in the main image, we need to look at the search core performance report before, and then after the split test, we need to look at it after and see from a keyword level what data changed. Did we have a large effect on specific keywords that we were trying to target? Is this beneficial? And understanding what is going on is really important. What I do is I plug this all into our database, and essentially every time we run through different tests, we store what we're testing, and then from there we run a bunch of different prompts that run back into our database that give us suggestions on what we can change based on prioritization and based on the data. So essentially a self-improving feedback loop. That's much more complicated than get into this video, but from a strategy standpoint, I just wanted to share kind of how we do it on the back end. Do you need help scaling your Amazon brand? I'm sure you know by now, I'm Hunter Harris, founder of GigaBrands. We've scaled over 50 brands at Amazon, done over 180 million in sales, and we're on track to do around 150 million in sales this year alone. So I have tons and tons of experience inside of Amazon, and with that, we have very, very intricate and beautiful systems, I'm sure, as you can see through this this video. I'm happy to take a look at your brand, help you identify any bottlenecks that you have, and walk you through what an engagement with us will look like. And worst case scenario, you have an expert set of eyes that are going to help you see your metrics and how your systems are from a different light. You can book in the bio. I'll leave a link, gigabrands.ai. And from that, I appreciate you watching. I have another video that I recorded talking about main images and how we are using different psychology in order to, increase the amount of click-through and conversions through our listings. And I'm going to leave a link to that video right here. See you soon.